Be human. What matters is that you are present. AI will not replace value creators. I stopped breathing. Heart stopped. Uh-oh.
Welcome to Get Your Mind Right. Today, we're diving into your questions and insights in our mailbag segment. Thanks to everyone who wrote in. Let's open up the mailbag.
Hey, good morning. John Johnson here, and welcome to Get Your Mind Right Mailbag Edition. This was packed today. We're reading Zoom etiquette, AI anxiety, client support that actually moves the needle when life is in the way. Today's backstory. Let's just say I learned there's a limit to how far you can joke with your mother after she's been vacuuming pine needles for 8 hours. Stick around and you'll understand. Let's dive in. First question is from Whitney Johnson from Evansville, Indiana. And Whitney writes, John, what's the rule on camera meetings when your background is a hot mess? Well, Whitney, thank you for asking the quiet part out loud because you're not the only one who's quietly panicking before every Zoom call. Let me keep this real for you. Camera off is fine until it's not. Now, here's the rule I teach my reps. First of all, if it's a one-on-one with your manager, someone internal, be human. If your background looks like a laundry grenade went off, just say so. Say, hey, heads up, I'm off camera today because my kitchen looks like a crime scene. That's real, that's fine, and that's trust. But if you're dealing with a prospect or a client, err on the side of the camera on. You're not being judged on your throw pillows. You're being evaluated on presence. And don't overthink the background. But if your environment is too chaotic, blur it. Throw up a virtual background so it doesn't look like outer space. Or find a neutral wall and call it a day. What really matters here, Whitney, is that you are present in the conversation. Now think about it. Would you ever do an in-person meeting in sunglasses and a hoodie because your house was messy? Same principle at work here. Show up, be seen, and be professional. And if it's a high-stake call and your space is wild, grab a closet, sit in your car, pop into a co-working space. I've seen people close deals from walk-in pantries and parked SUVs. The message here is you don't need to be perfect, but you do need to be intentional. Now here's a power tip. Use your natural background when you can. Why? Because it's authentic, especially if you're working from home. You're showing the world that your life is neat, orderly, and in place. It speaks volumes about how you conduct your business. Thanks much, Whitney. That is a great question. Our next question is from Bob Gilly from Colorado Springs, Colorado. Bob writes, John, how do we stay relevant when everyone's talking about AI, automation, and replacing reps with software? Well, Bob, you just tapped into the core fear that a lot of reps are carrying, but not saying out loud. AI is getting smarter, bots are getting better, and clients are definitely curious. You hear lots of whispers that are turned into murmurs that are soon going to be shouts. What if this tech what if this tech makes you irrelevant? Let's set this straight, Bob. AI might replace order takers, but they are not going to replace value creators. So let's make sure that you stay on the right side of this line. I want you to double down on context, Bob, because AI is great at data, but it is absolute garbage at nuance. When a business owner, for example, says, I'm slammed, AI doesn't see that his walk-in freezer just broke, his cook just walked out, and his kid is home with flu. But you do. If you know how to respond to that moment with empathy and options, you're going to win. Also, Bob, I want you to build a strategic memory because you're not just remembering their processor, you're remembering their story. You might say, hey, Jim, last time we spoke, you were gearing up for that spring rush. Did it hit harder than expected? AI can't do that. Not yet, and probably not ever. Now, Bob, I also want you to make their life easier right now. Tech talks and human acts. And when you respond faster, explain better, anticipate problems before they happen, you're not competing with AI. You're competing with every forgettable, half-baked sales experience that they've ever had. Be that rep that they cannot replace because you solve real problems in real time with real heart. Bob, you stay relevant by staying human. I appreciate your question. Our last mailbag entry today is from Patrick Hansen from Fredericksburg, Virginia. Patrick writes, just had a client that had a family crisis. I showed up, helped him work the register, ate lunch, and he finally filled out the app. Can you top that? Well, Patrick, that's a masterclass. Let's recap it. Your client was overwhelmed, family in the hospital, running the whole business solo. Can't even sit down on a laptop. You show up with energy drinks, help him run the clover, eat lunch while you're in the trenches, and he finally goes with you. Now, that's what solving problems in sales can really look like. Now you ask me, can I top this? Well, I'm going to give this my best shot. I don't know if I can top this. I was about 25 or 26, and I had been working with a manufacturing plant that was approximately an hour drive from my home. I had a couple things working against me on this deal, Patrick. Is first of all, at that age, I knew that inherently worked against me. Well, why is that? Well, number one, because 25-year-olds tend to be flaky. They change jobs, they get married, they leave town, and they're generally not as reliable as a quote-unquote full-grown adult. So I knew that. The other thing I had working against me was this client worked crazy hours. I had a good relationship with him. Now, keep in mind, I've never met him face to face, but we had developed a relationship over a year or more on the phone. And he always liked to kid me, call me a young buck, a young guy, every little thing he could to needle me. So I finally got a chance to where he was willing to sit down with me. And I knew I had this guy close, but it was going to take a face-to-face meeting to take this across the finish line. And he agreed to it. So when we set up a time to meet, I suggested at 7 a.m. He said, well, you got to be kidding me. You're going to have to leave home by 6 a.m. to even get down here in time. I said, yeah, that's no problem. I get up early every day. Two things here. Number one, that was true. I did get up early every day. Number two is I did this for a couple of strategic reasons. Number one, if you are young and you're in sales, you always hear this stuff about your generation. And it's always in the context that your generation is not as good as the speaker who's giving you those words. I also know that old school people like to get up and get to work early. So by doing this, I was getting on this guy's page. He was surprised. Well, the next thing was there was snow in the forecast. And this client happened to live in the state of Kentucky. If you've been in Kentucky when there's a snowstorm, well, the Great Bluegrass State, they are not big on snow removal. And pretty much the whole state shuts down. So he brought up this storm event. And I said, well, unless the roads are closed, I will be there. I might be a few minutes late. Will that be a problem? And he kind of chuckled and said, no problem. Just let me know that you're not going to make it. I said, okay. So sure enough, I got up a few minutes earlier, drove slowly on what should have been a 2-lane road down there, was winnowed down to 1. It took me about an hour and 20 minutes to get there, driving at a safe speed. I didn't have any problems. Actually was there just a couple minutes late. I'm here to tell you the guy was shocked. Well, I didn't expect to see you here. What time did you have to leave? Unbelievable. So guess what happened to my deal? As predicted, it went as smooth as silk. And there were a few things there that really pushed me over the top on this. Number one, I had an early meeting with the guy. And number two, even though the road conditions were bad, I just left a few minutes early. Went down there, made it just a couple minutes late because that's the way I operate. And I signaled to the guy that I do what I say I'm going to do. Now, Patrick, here's what the stories you and I here have in common. You weren't a vendor, you were a partner. You saw the problem and you solved it. No script, no pressure, just empathy and execution. Patrick, thank you for showing what real sales support looks like. That's the stuff that builds lifers. And I hope that you feel that my story can hold up to yours. And now for the backstory.
Welcome to the Backstory, where I take a step back before we move forward. Each week, I share moments that shape me, whether it's my time as a sales rep, my journey as a dad, experiences I had, stories I've learned, or the curiosity that's followed me since childhood. Because every lesson learned today, well, there's usually a story worth telling behind it. Let's get into it.
Today's backstory is called Christmas, Consequences, and a Child with No Survival Instinct. Now, to tell you this one, I'm going to have to take you all the way back to Christmas 2003. My wife and I had 3 kids, all age 6 or under. One of them was still in diapers. We were living in the house that had officially been declared too small by everyone under 4 feet tall. And to top it off, we were in the final stretch of the construction of our new place. Now, you understand my wife. She doesn't just decorate for Christmas. She goes full Hallmark mode on you. We're talking trees, garlands, scented pine cones, battery-operated reindeer. Every corner of the house was Christmased out. So you know what that meant when it's time to take it all down. Now, on top of all this, she was helping to prepare our house for sale. Now, this particular day, it was a Sunday. I was in my office working, and the kids had all been assigned tasks. My 4-year-old daughter was doing her thing, and our 6-year-old son on takedown duty. The day passed. I heard the usual mom check-ins from other rooms. But then late afternoon, that's when the volcano erupted. Stephanie hit the wall. She barks at my son. Alex, you have done nothing today. I have worked all day and you've been sitting on your tail. I gave you 2 simple tasks, 2, and you didn't do either. And then in the most ill-timed, ill-conceived moment of his life, my son calmly replies, well, Mom, if you're so good at doing all the chores, why don't you just do mine too? Well, I passively heard this from the other room, but I stopped breathing and my heart stopped. Uh-oh. I felt the chill in the air. Then the pause, and then the mom response. Alex, I am so angry right now. I am not even going to speak to you. Do the jobs, get out of my sight, and I'm going to decide your punishment later. So I waited a couple of the requisite minutes for the dust to settle and decided to use some comedy to diffuse the situation. I went up to her and I said, so, he's got a point. Yeah, that did not go over well. Some lessons in leadership, timing, and not challenging a woman who just spent 8 hours undecking the halls. Not a lot of room for comedy. And that is today's backstory. For the recap, Wendy Johnson learned how to balance professionalism with grace when showing up on Zoom, regardless of background chaos. Bob Gilly, well, he got the playbook for staying relevant in an AI world by doubling down on human value. Patrick showed us what it looks like to show up, step in, and earn the client's trust when it matters most. In the backstory, we learned that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is not open your mouth when the house smells like pine and rage. Hey, it's quiz time. Which of the following will not keep you relevant in a world leaning on automation? A, providing helpful follow-up after a call. B, responding faster than their software. C, remembering their kids' names in spring promo. Or D, using a script word for word on every call. Drop your answer in the comments and tell us why. And hey, share this with someone who needs it. And I'm asking you to like and smash that subscribe button. As always, if you've got questions or comments, I would love to hear them. Drop them in the box below. I'll see you back here on Wednesday for Get Your Mind Right.